Please forgive me glasses.
Wow, good morning, everybody. If you're tuning in, wherever you're tuning in from, if you're at work, in a car, in your own homes, welcome to Ing of the Wingers Corner, Sporting Hour on iSpy Radio, 87.5 FM. Absolutely beautiful morning out there. I've got my beautiful hosts, Tussie and Jay, on with me, or in the studio with me this morning. We've got an exciting program. So good morning, guys.
G'day. Like you're my paper it's so early in the morning. Caffeined up and ready to roll.
That's Jay practicing this morning.
Because Auntie Sal is listening from Australia now. Okay.
Yes.
I'm impressed.
Before we go,
I'm just gonna like
before we go and introduce our wonderful guest that we have on the show, just some news that's just breaking as we wake up here in Samoa. Sporting news, that is, not just news, general news, but sporting news. We've got in the world of boxing. As we all know, Samoans love boxing, and it's one of our national sports and the sport that we all love following.
In the ring and on the streets and just everywhere. It's such a popular sport.
Well, you heard it from Dusty right there.
In the markets.
See?
Sorry, back to the
so, big announcement. I don't know if you saw it on the news last night in New Zealand. The announcement between Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder, and could possibly follow into Auckland, New Zealand, or even Sydney in Australia. So Duco's Dean Lonergan Promotions, as well as Bob Arum from the United States, trying to put this fight together. And there is a possibility that could be held in Eden Park in Auckland.
Eden Park?
Yes.
Yeah, bro. That's going to bring out a lot of people.
Well, I see that Joseph Barker or Lukas Ripley is looking at being on the undercard. So that's great news. And man, can you imagine bringing that fight with that caliber, the world media and the whole world watching this fight in Eden Park?
In Eden Park?
Yes.
Only about, 7 minutes away from South Auckland, but Eden Park, wow, that is so amazing.
I think we've got to go. We've got to go. You know,
okay.
There's no doubt that Lukas Ripley, Joseph Parker will be on that card. And I'm pretty sure there'll be some of our own local boys, could possibly make that the undercard. So
that is exciting news. Exciting.
Watch this space. And then there's another announcement with Anthony Joshua, the current IBF, WBC, and WBA world champion, lining up against Tyson Fury again on a 2-fight deal, maybe at the end of this year, certainly in the beginning of next year as well. So that's coming out of the fresh off the press as we talk. So hey, and how about boxing here in Samoa?
Imagine, but what about the talks of Mike Tyson doing a sort of a match?
Yeah, it's kind of fizzled out though, AJ. So I do know that there is a opponent that's been confirmed, and they're going to announce it sometime next week. So everyone wants to see Tyson back in the ring. I still want that fight, the David Tua.
Yeah.
I think the guy who's fighting should wear earmuffs though. Just in case he wants to kick it old school and do some chewing.
Okay. Rugby news. The big Aotearoa Super Rugby kicks off tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, my cousin's gonna hit the field.
Yes. Now, Jade, what team do you support? Come on, pick the right team.
The Blues.
Yes, the Blues. The Blues. Bowden Barrett's making his debut, so that's going to be
We're just
awesome
saying that because we're from Auckland. We don't really believe in.
Oh, come on.
No,
come on.
There's been a drought for a long time. I just want them to come out of that.
Yeah, and guess what? They said they really sold 26,000 tickets. So the CEO, Hor, was saying that it's the biggest crowd they've had in 10 years. I think people are just excited just to get out of their homes and support rugby.
Yeah.
So for the Blues, it'll be a great atmosphere. Blues versus.
Is there a lot of Hamos in the Blues?
There's a lot of Samoans, a lot of Fijians, and both teams. They're playing the Hurricanes. See?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I'm looking forward to that. And then you got the Chiefs versus the Highlanders down at Dunedin, and so all the university students or ex we don't support in that. So that's going to be exciting. And then, what have I got here?
So just going back to the Blues. Sorry.
Yeah.
There was news last week that they signed up Daniel Carter as well.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes, that's all confirmed. And I spoke to Daniel
I thought
Carter.
he was an underwear model now. Or is he going
He's
back to rugby?
I spoke to Daniel Carter, and he's looking forward to having a big influence behind the scenes. And I think that's a very huge coup for the Blues. To have someone as experienced as Dan behind the, because why would you sign Dan Carter when you got Bowden Barrett?
Yeah. That must have been just after I spoke to him as well.
You speak to him?
Yeah, I just set up after our underwear shoot the other day.
Restriction.
Can you press that?
So this is what happens when you bring guys on that don't know anything about sports.
This is not the one show. This is like a sports show.
And there's a couple more things before we move on and introduce our guest.
Oh, very special.
Okay. The other thing is, it's actually 5 years this month that one of our ex-All Black One Samoa great, Jerry Collins, passed away in June 2015. So we remember Jerry, the hitman Collins, and all your families. We remember this sad day, and I remember listening to it. I could not believe this on the radio when I heard it come through. I don't know where you at or who you were with at the time, but when this news broke, it broke a lot of hearts with it, you know. So 5 years ago, the big man was caught. So
how funny you brought him up, because I honestly, just yesterday, I was telling somebody a story about Jerry Collins being here when we were, why not nightclub or Panels nightclub, I can't remember. Jerry Collins actually came and drank outside with some of his cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He actually came during the time too that we had paddles up here.
yes.
And he came in after, straight off the plane, he came out and just sat on the balcony, ate and stayed the whole day.
Yes.
Yeah, Jerry.
So we remember this month or this day for the Collins family. So rest in peace, Jerry, and thank you so much for all that you've done for rugby as a wonderful, wonderful model. Anyway,
yes,
our special guest,
very special,
very young, talented, and this is the young Lukas Ripley. He joins us on Zoom. I can see him right now from Australia. Hello, Lukas.
All of you guys,
hello.
Live on Facebook, and you can see what we're talking about. Sorry.
Yes. So this young, talented Samoan is in Australia. He moved to Australia with his lovely family, Robert and Salmasina Seuli, to look for better opportunities for their children, and they have not failed. He's been touted as one of the best up-and-coming youngsters in his age group in Queensland, and I've got the privilege of him coming on board, and he's actually with us right now in the studio. Good morning, Lukas.
Hello, Palava. Good morning. Thank you for having me. It's such a privilege to be on this wonderful radio station.
You've been well taught by your mum and dad to say that. I know you've got a close relationship with Auntie Tussie and Uncle Jay as well here in the studio, so we're absolutely delighted to have you. I'll tell you why I'm delighted, because not often we promote our young up-and-coming sportsmen and women outside Samoa. So this is what this radio station is all about. It's about promoting youngsters like yourself. And you've obviously moved with your parents to Australia, and you've been a huge success there. And I'm sure this is just many, many more things to come. So we're excited. We want to talk about a little bit about your background. So tell us how old you are and what you are currently up to right now.
I'm 18 years old. I just turned 18 in April, and at the moment, I'm just studying at university. We have all these exams coming up at uni, so I'm studying sports medicine with Spanish and music. So all these exams are coming in hard right now. So I'm just trying to stay on top of all my studies and all my academic stuff. So that's what's keeping me busy throughout this this COVID-19 break. So yeah.
You got an auntie over here. She can't sit still. She's jumping up and down. So, Tassie, do you want to say anything?
Damn, there's a lot going on, but hey, you can do it.
My head is still, but my legs are moving.
Yeah.
Excited.
Oh my Lord, love sunshine. That is just absolutely amazing.
And it's not. I suppose it's not it's probably the norm at the moment, Lucas, that, kids today have been asked to do something to assist with their talent, not just the sport, not just focus on sport, but you're talking about doing sports medicine at university, which is fantastic. And that can only add to what you're doing on the field as well, And so I suppose it's creating that balance, because so often a lot of our Polynesian sports men and women are so focused on the sports that they don't have time out, to have a good balance. So obviously, sports medicine, you couldn't pick a better degree, I suppose. How far into this degree are you?
Oh, I just started this year. I graduated last year, so it's my first year into this degree.
Wow.
Really finding it really amazing and fascinating. So,
well, as they say, Jussie, that knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
And this is what you're doing with yourself. You're empowering yourself through education and academics. So congratulations. I never passed anything at school except for the rugby ball. And when I left school, I got UE, but that didn't stand for university entrance. That stood for unemployed.
We went to the same school. I could have been past the ball.
Something interesting also, I hear that you rap. You're a rapper. Is that true?
Oh. No, I didn't do rapping for my music degree or my music subject at uni. It's one of the requirements for making the music. So that's the only time I would rap over some music. But I'm not a professional rapper. Or
yes.
I don't do any rapping of any sort.
But Lucas, it has happened with past rugby players. I remember Robbie Paul, one of the who's played for the Kiwis, and he was in Bradford Bulls back in England, and he brought out his own album as a rapper, and it was a huge hit. He'll play rugby on Saturday, and then during the week he'll rap. So he had a massive cult following. So you never know. Never say never. Hey, Lucas.
Okay, never say never.
And also, I see here doing a little bit of research on you. You're also a discus champion from the age group from 10, 11, 12, 13-year-olds. So you were national discus champion. Again, tell us about that and what got you, because it's obviously your academic sports, but the different variety of sports that you're involved in.
Yes, yeah. So when we first came to Australia, I was really just putting my hand up for everything, all the sports they had on offer at my school, and I just wanted to give everything a go. And discus was something that I really enjoyed because I was just throwing. It is really just throwing something out to the field. That was the basic rule of discus. So I really enjoyed it, and later on I found out I was really good at it. So we didn't want to stop there. We continued, and it's really just my break from rugby. It's my time out. So instead of having rugby and academic as well, this discus was also my step away from the rugby. It was my break. So it was really good to have discus as another sport to go on to. And still now I'm still trying to keep my foot in the door of discus because it really is an important sport and how my rugby career really developed. So I'm really grateful for learning discus.
I remember before you guys moved to Australia, we used to go to the beach a lot. And I used to show you how to throw skip the rock over the ocean, the water. And then you did it as well. And I said, man, this kid is going to grow up. He's going to be a discus champion. But don't forget where you learned it from. Are you for Jay?
Did you just do one of those? He's my cousin, he's my nephew.
I just did one of your dad's stories.
I think Lucas, I think Uncle Jay tried to claim your success at a very young age.
No.
Is your dad punching a pillow right now, behind the camera? No.
Wow. Later on, I would love to have your father because there's a bit of a relationship that me and him used to have. But we'll let you guys know all about that relationship. We'll go back many years before you were born. Okay, so Robert Ripley, if you're listening, and I'd love to have you on our next segment if that's okay. So anyway, it's why you're laughing. Yeah, we'll tell you about your father's secrets. Okay. So we're going to go to a quick break, and then we'll come back, and hopefully we'll have your father on with you, okay? Because I want to talk about these many trophies that I see behind the cabinet.
Maybe.
behind you.
And that banner.
Yep.
And that banner.
That
Okay.
amazing banner. Was it Queensland?
What's this at?
Queensland expects you to do your duty. Oh, right in the corner. Everybody's watching on Facebook right now. Check out those. Those
Just
are
underline down the
all
bottom, wash
his.
the dishes, wash the washing, clean the car.
Yeah, that goes without saying. Every Samoan athlete has to do that.
So we're going to take a quick break and we'll come back on King of the Wingers Sporting Hour on iSpy Radio 87.5 in Samoa. So chill and we'll see you soon. Lucas, we're still live. So we're still live on Facebook, okay? Now, you can ask your auntie or uncle any questions you want.
Bubblegum, what time is it there?
I think it's just going to say 8 o'clock. It's 20
What
to 8.
time is it over there?
Oh, 20 to 8, 7:40.
In my home?
Can you hear us?
Yep, can you hear me?
Can you hear us, Lucas?
Oh, I presume.
Hello? Yep,
Yeah.
What time is it over there?
7:20, 7:40.
What is it?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you
Yeah. What was it? 7:40?
10:40.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Have you got
We've
classes
since 5
today?
this morning.
You've been up since 5?
Oh, why?
Yeah, running around preparing everything, you know, mum and dad last minute.
I know the whole cabin looks real shiny.
I know, I need glasses. Everything is just too shiny behind you. That's the thing I'm making out. Oh man, those are just amazing. Is your mom standing with her? Is your mom standing with her Django? Ah, there she is. I don't see Mozzie.
Good morning.
Good morning,
So lovely to be
Stewie.
with you. Such a privilege.
We were with my mom last night. We were so
Yeah.
excited just talking about today, yeah. And then well, you know, Mo always wants to organize everything. I sent the questions. I did this. I'm like, okay, chill out, drink your water.
We've been so excited. Just nervous at the same time. Yeah.
Salah,
So
Oh, really?
just guide us along.
how long did you guys move over to Australia?
We came in 2012. Yeah, we came in 2012 when Lukas was only about 10 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're in
So it's been
Brisbane?
a real adventure. Yeah. We came away to be with our older children because they were all going to university, but we ended up in Australia. And in that first year of being in Australia, Lukas went in to throw the discus for school, and we ended up at the nationals, and he won the gold medal. So that was a big. It really encouraged us to go further. He's enjoyed his career, his athletics and rugby in school, and it's been a real encouragement. Also with all our Samoan family.
We're just gonna go back on.
Okay.
We're gonna go back on. No.
Yeah.
Come in.
Don't go, Sarah.
Yeah,
Don't
come
go.
in.
We're going to continue it. But you're live on
Salah,
Facebook.
come onto the screen, Salah.
Oh, come on.
Robert, what's that?
Good morning, everybody. If you're tuning in to 87.5 FM, this is King of the Wingers Sporting Hour at iSpy Radio with my host here is Tussie and Jay of the iSpy, as well as we've got our wonderful guest all the way from Queensland, and that's Lucas, the young, ever-present, young, good-looking, handsome Lukas Ripley joining us.
Slash rapper.
Plus this champion. So just a quick shout out for those who are listening and riding around. Lucky and Bex from Pure Pacific Water, wherever you guys are. I know you're doing the rounds around the island. So just a big shout out to you guys. Keep going, stay focused. Anyone other shout outs? Tuala, Jack from the
Sports
Lotto. Yes,
Do you reckon will you be part of the lineup boxing team?
yes, the undercard.
The undercard?
Yes, Tuala,
The
Jack.
under something.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes, absolutely. Go.
See, we were sparring this morning, and he gave Neil Stevens from Pure Pacific Water a good hiding.
Good.
So Neil, did you hear that? Jack gave you a good hiding. Anyway, it's all over the
You told me
radio.
about training this morning, and you told me the stories about Jack. I said, no, I'm not going to train.
Well, someone was supposed to turn up,
Yeah.
but didn't turn up. Anyway, he fell asleep. Anyway, so those are my shout outs. Coming back to my young guest here, Lukas Ripley from Australia. Again, if you heard from the previous segment, he's signed up with the Queensland Academy, Queensland Reef Academy. Currently doing his degree in sports medicine. Also a current champion on all these age groups in discus, national champion, and a rapper as well. So he hasn't got much on his
Rapper, TikTok,
TikTok,
blowing up Instagram.
Lukas, is your mother and father around? Can we have them on board?
Yes.
Are they on board?
Yes,
One
they're
of the
right
things
next
that
to
we
me.
do talk about this on the station is grassroots, and we normally have a lot of the players that have gone through. But I think today is really good, and it's exciting for us that we're actually talking to someone who's going through that whole process. And
Absolutely.
Yes.
Good morning, Sayuli, and this is the real rock right here. Actually, because Auntie Sana is the higher title than rock. In case you're listening, Dwayne, we got your boss here, right here on Facebook on 87.5, and that's not a joke, that's for real, for real.
Oh, there's my good friend Robert.
The rock right next door.
Oh,
Yes.
the rock. Oh, there you go.
There you go. If you're watching on Facebook, there's Robert Ripley there.
Raise
Robert,
that eyebrow. Raise that eyebrow, bro.
what's that? What's our pops will be saying? Come on, Robert. There's no easy ponies.
There's no easy bonies?
Yeah, no easy ponies. The old Ponsonby boy. So, Robert.
What does that mean? No easy bonies. Sounds like
wasn't gonna happen.
something you're going to order from KFC? What is that?
No. So we've got Robert and Salmasina Siuli. You know, as parents, you must be very, very proud of the achievement for this young man, Lukas, here, and what he's achieved in Australia in such a short period of time. You moved there in 2012? Is that correct?
Yes, in 2012.
We
We actually had to come and see what it was all about.
Yes.
But in that amount of time, we've learned so much about sports and how it is encouraged here in Australia. We've learned how the coaching aspect of it for the children especially. It's been a wonderful journey for us.
We talked about... Sorry. Come in, Robert.
The original plan was, the reason why we came was to get a better education for the boys, for Lukas and Dela Cruz. And that's really what we came for. Just being blessed with the boys having the physical attributes to be able to pick up the sports that's done over here in Australia. But definitely Australia embrace a lot of our people, a lot of the Polynesian people in sports. It's been a great journey so far. So it's a good platform. He set up. He put his hand up for a lot of events that we didn't even dream of, and a couple of times we had to tell him, "Yeah, well, that's enough. Okay, it's getting a bit too much. We can't keep driving around Australia following after you." But
Okay,
good.
Robert and Siuli, now I've got you both there. You see, so many parents make the mistake of wanting to live their careers through their children. I see it time and time again. Even myself, I've got children. I've got older kids now, but even at times their sport's totally different to mine. They're all boxers. And you try and give the best as parents through advice and encouragement, but sometimes there comes a time where you've got to draw the line. So while you're both there listening, I'm going to ask Lukas directly. Lukas, and you don't have to be afraid, Lukas, okay?
You're online.
Don't worry, you're protected, okay? So, Lukas, how much of a pressure it is when your parents are always egging you on and they're always pushing you? Because there's a big difference between forcing you and pushing you. And I say this because a lot of children get that idea wrong. Because they say, "Oh, Dad, you're forcing us." But no, forcing is when you're going one way and your parents want you to go the other way. Pushing you is when you're going forward and they get behind and push you or elevate you, as Tasi mentioned early on. So
Yep.
from your perspective, as I think, how crucial are A, your parents' support, and B, do you find pressure from your parents as well?
I think my parents' support played a huge part in where I am in my rugby. I didn't really feel pressured from how they were pushing me. We were both going in the same direction, and then especially my dad, and he's really helped me a lot throughout all the aspects, because coming from a rugby background and him as well, he's been able to give me advice, positive feedback, and even though when times they do get tough, when times do get tough on the training field, and yeah, they get really tough sometimes.
I love how you moved to the side and you said,
Why did you move to your left?
why did you move towards mum?
Always mummy's there, always to save the day. No, but it's true. You know, and I say that there's a reason why I've said this, Lucas and parents, because here in Samoa we don't have that kind of encouragement. Well, it definitely is not as evident as I go around and watch the sports on a Saturday or during the school sport. There's not enough parents getting behind their children and encouraging them. And so you're wonderful. Okay, you're an incredible example of parents that want to support you. Whether you succeed or not, it's not the issue. But the fact that you grow up knowing that you've got your parents' support is usually a massive blessing for you to carry on to bigger and better things.
Absolutely, and he does. He does have the best parents, and I know these two, and they are actually much better parents than I am. But but yeah, what they've done with Lucas and all of their children, they're all excelling in what they do, and we have had this conversation off here about how sometimes parents here do really even get a bit violent with their children, and it's just so sad how much pressure they put on them. But yeah, with Salah and Robert, they are definitely, everybody needs to look at what parents, these are the parents that will make a star. I mean, they will make that rugby. I mean, you know what I mean. They're the parents that have got they will back up their children in the way they should be. They will hoist them up and bring out the best out of them. And I congratulate you, Salah and Robert. I love you guys very much, and everything that you've done for all our kids. My Lord, lava.
Because it is time consuming, isn't it, Robert and Selma? It's time consuming. There's a lot of time, energy, and even money now spent on bringing and developing and encouraging your children. I mean, you've got 2 or 3 or maybe 4 children. Five. So I understand, because I'm an ex-player myself, and I know the pressure that comes with it. And here's the funny thing. There's no guarantee of success at the end of the day, but I think what's really important is the relationship. And this is something that my wife taught me when I was trying to continue to push my kids, not because I want them to succeed. And then my wife said this amazing saying. She said, there's no point winning the argument and losing your relationship with your children. And that's very, very important. When I learned a big lesson from that. And it took my own wife, their mother, to actually speak up, So you got to find a balance, I suppose, because I grew up at a time, and I'm sure you're the same, Robert, that my parents used to say, you'll never get anything from that rugby. Why are you playing rugby? You don't get paid, you'll get nothing from it. But how time has changed. Now you've got a wonderful career to look forward to. Kids coming straight from school, high school, straight into academies, straight into the forefront. And so all of a sudden you get elevated very quickly. And I suppose, Lucas, if you're listening, I know there's a bit of a smile on your face, to have the parent support is huge. No, and I do. I really wish you all the very best, because there has been some sad cases, and I say that. It's something that we have not addressed properly as parents, is how do we control ourselves? Because sometimes when you go and watch, and I go watch some of my nephews and nieces play, some of the things that come out of our parents' mouths on the sideline, it's just, you think, gee, really? But they're so passionate. And then you ask the question, is it your sport you play? Is it your dream you're trying to play through your children? No. So I think there's a good message in the whole thing. You're trying to find balance. So coming back to you, Lucas.
Joe? Yeah, so just quickly touching on that, it's really awesome to see the relationship in the family, you know, supporting each other. I mean, and Lucas as well, taking on with his parents, how much you taken that advice and the support that you have around you, and how you nourish that. And just talking to you early on and how you explained everything else that you're doing other than rugby. I mean, there's a big smile on your face. I mean, you're not being pushed to do this. You're actually really enjoying it. And I think that's one of the things that is really important going through all these things, that you enjoy it and it's something that you want to do. And it's even a bonus when you have your parents and people around you supporting you and putting that through. So, you know, very blessed on that. So, yeah.
Okay,
Is there a question?
Yes, I've got some question that's coming through.
Sorry, I've got a question. I got a question coming in. Oh, sorry. Did you guys want to say something before I ask the question?
Yes, yeah. Just that relationship between athletes and parents is important, and it's so true. It's a two-way thing, and there's been a couple of times you have to also confide, and you know, we have to have a little bit of a prayer for ourselves, because sometimes we also have to look at ourselves as parents. Is it a push or is it a dream of your own? So, you know, is it encouragement? Are you teaching or are you forcing? And some of them call it tough love. We hear this, and we see a lot of the other parents in our community, the way that they talk on the sideline, and then, you know, we kind of have to step back, and we're kind of thinking, wow, it's quite a tall ask on a kid, you know. The expectations for kids over here is really, really tough. And I think it's because a lot of our generation have come from Samoa, come over here, and there needs to be coaching also for the parents to understand the transition and culture, that we're trying to do well, which we're trying to push our kids to do well. But at the same time, you know, it's interpreted differently for the young people. They take it as a force. You're trying to force it on me. But it's a two-way thing, and that relationship is really important, that the parents do learn from the young people too, that we learn. So we learn also from Lucas and what he does, and the way we've done things. We used to climb the mountain, swim the river, and then weed the garden before we went to school, and these kids get up and look in the mirror and learn, and, you know, so two different lifestyles. So we try to instill our stuff without being that dramatic about it, but it's important. But thank you. That's an important factor on relationship.
Thank you.
Power of prayer.
Whose garden were you weeding?
Which river were you farming? Which river were you farming? Just quickly
Okay.
Whose
ask
farm were you farming?
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
quickly ask the question as well, Robert. You know, it's really great to see how you guys have got these opportunities in Australia, and I know there's a lot of people here in Samoa too that have their children that actually go over for these programs, rugby programs. A lot of Samoan kids are getting picked up for rugby programs. What is there a support? I mean, not every kid that goes over has family over there. So I can see how amazing the opportunities would be, but at the same time, the challenge of coming over to Australia and finding that you're there on your own. Is there support there for kids here in Samoa when they do come over to Australia, you know, to settle in and fit into the program and what's happening?
You know, to a certain degree, there is. It's no different. We've seen it happen at our school, where a lot of the boys come from the farm, from the rural areas into the city schools. It's no different from the experiences of our boys coming from the islands that are getting the opportunity to play here. It's the after rugby. It's when the lights are out, when they're off the field. That's where a lot of them tend to have a lot of probably a bit lost for themselves. But that's where it's important that we stay close as a family, and our people remember that there is church, there is Samoan churches here. You know, that we all come from that lifestyle back home, that they don't lose it when they get here, because we've seen a lot of our young people get really excited when they get that initial sign on, and it's only it's a pathway, it's an academy, it's a step in the door. But we've seen some of the young people get really excited during Monika, and they tend to lose that focus. But the support we want it to be, if you want to get that support, then that needs to be done before they get here, like to connect with certain families. And that's what the schools do. A lot of the rugby schools, a lot of the GPS schools here in Brisbane, they tend to get their network going before they recruit or they bring the boys in from the country, from rural areas.
Thanks, Robert. Listen, we're going to ask one question and then we'll take a quick break and then we'll come back, and I want to hear more from this young man, Lucas. Lucas, here's a question. What is the big dream here? You're 18 years of age, you're at the crossroads, right? You got a wonderful education behind you, you're doing your degree. So 18 years of age, you're about to enter your prime. What is the big dream?
The big dream for me would have to be playing professional football, to be playing rugby with in Super Rugby, or if not Super Rugby, hopefully internationally, travel the world while I'm still young, and of course to get a degree. That's to get a certificate, so I'm qualified, and so I can do anything I would like to. So that's my biggest dream. So I can give back to these two guys, these two people next to me.
Well answered. Well answered.
Oh my gosh.
What was that, Robert?
Yeah, let's record it. Don't worry.
So we're going to take a quick break and we'll come back with some. Lucas, get ready for the next segment because there'll be a barrage of questions for you, okay?
And shout outs. We've got people listening from all over the world and they're flipping up.
Is that right?
So we'll do some shout outs.
Okay, so we'll take a quick break and we'll come back. Thank you. Wow. I tell you what,
Beautiful interview.
hey, I'm really impressed, Robert, this young man. So, well done, both.
Yeah.
Can you still hear us, Robert and Lucas?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Can you hear Lucas? Can you hear him?
Oh, okay. I need my earbuds. Yeah. Sorry, Lucas. So the next segment we'll just throw as many questions that we've got from Facebook and that's to you. Okay.
Okay.
You bring De La Cruz in as well. Just come sit with you guys.
He's got to school.
He's got to
He's
school.
gone. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, very good. So, Robert,
Robert.
Ex-Pony boys, eh? Ex-Pony boys. Have you shown your son some of your secret traits?
Well,
The
that's the thing. See, I think these guys, they come back. They when they hear it from the other guys, when they hear it from the academies, then they come home and they say, "Oh, now I know what you were talking about, Dad."
Yeah, but see, that's rugby. I've got 3 sons who are boxers. 2 of them are professional boxers. The other one's an amateur. And so now and again they get me into the ring, and I know what they're doing, but I just do it anyway. I get in there, we have a spark. Then one of them knocks me out, right? And then they play the stupid games. Oh, Dad, you're right. I go, oh, mate, all I can see is stars, eh? And then my youngest son, he'll apologize. He goes, oh, sorry, Dad, didn't mean to do that. And then the older son will say, well, I suppose the only place that I can legally beat the hell out of you, eh? In a boxing ring. So wait. No respect to these young guys, eh?
I totally agree. I totally agree with you. We had a classic example. I was at the marker. I had the crash pad, and one of the boys, these guys, put me on my bum, put me on my ass, and I thought, oh, okay, that's all right. And then we just carried on with training. And then we came back to the same drill. I was at the marker, and he tried to run it from dummy up. So I smacked him a beauty and put him in his ass. And I said, mate, training's not over yet, buddy.
To school,
Yeah.
but this is how you do a Psalm 1 athlete's interview. The whole family has to sit in front of the screen.
I think that's fantastic.
That's how it should always be done, because every athlete is about, there's always a village and a family behind an athlete, so it's really nice to actually have an interview with everybody around.
It is very good. Lucas, there's no pressure, son. Just be yourself at all times. But I'm telling you, the days we were growing up, my mum and my dad, they'll say, oh, yeah, you wasn't there more, I'm there like a beat, just waste of time, you're just wasting your time. As soon as I met the All Blacks, oh son, I love you, son.
I didn't make the All Blacks, but yeah, I was told every time we finish a rugby game, don't let me see you limping.
Yes.
You made the team.
I made the All, yeah.
Nah, look, I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to seeing great things come out of you, and there's no pressure. And I think that's the, and you know, this is what I'm trying to encourage these ones here. You know, about enjoyment, and enjoyment's about doing the right thing, the right time for the right reasons. Anyway, we're coming back live. We're ready to go. Okay.
And who's Eric?
Well, good morning, everybody. If you're tuning into our program, Inga the Wingers Sporting Hour here on 87.5 FM Samoa, My Spy Radio. So again, my host in the studio with me is Tussie and Jake.
Just part of the decoration. Yes, I'm just part of the decoration.
And we've got this wonderful young man, up and coming superstar, Lukas Ripley from Australia, joining us with his lovely parents, Salamasina Seuli, as well as Robert. So anyway, we're going to come back here.
Just got a couple of shout outs to Lord's Khan, listening in from New Zealand, Rosabelle from Tuila, Mona from Australia, Eric Etienne Ratu. Thank you for tuning in. There's a whole lot of other guys here. If you have questions, please hit us up on Facebook and we will ask the man himself, Mr. Ripley.
Tussie's got a question.
Oh, yes. Actually, now this question is for face-off gaming. Oh, you have to look at that. Oh, no. Thank you, Mom, for answering. There is no need for words. Just like in every other family, the mother will just shake your head and everybody knows what that means. All right. Absolutely. No girlfriends. Save your rapping until you're 30 and then you can get a girlfriend. Oh, he's whispering. What's he saying? That was the question that came through. Okay.
Jake, what's the question?
Yeah, one of the things is being a Pacific Islander over there, has there been any struggles with you going through this process? What are the challenges of being a Pacific Islander?
So what was that, Uncle Jay? Are you breaking up?
Being a Pacific Islander, Samoan over there, have you had any challenges?
No, I haven't really had any challenges of being a Polynesian boy. I look at it as a positive opportunity to share the wonders of being a Polynesian boy, to share being positive, sharing laughter, compassion, kindness, because Polynesians are just lovable characters, and the energy and the positive vibes that they give off are just so infectious to people around them, and they're just able to adapt in any situation. So I haven't really faced any challenges as being a Polynesian boy. I've just tried to look at it as a positive opportunity to share of what we have.
Wow, that's funny because that's a question that came through. But you know, of course, we have followed you and we've seen a lot of things that you've done over there, and it looks like the whole community has actually embraced a lot of you guys. You and there's a group of Samoan kids there, and the whole community there has actually, you know, followed and backed you guys up. There's also been a show. Or documentary on your school that was out, I think last year. Was it last year?
The Brisbane boys. Yes, sorry. Back to you, Lucas.
That followed you guys through, and it had a lot of focus on a lot of the Pacific Island kids, seeing them embracing your culture, and yeah, so it was really really good.
Lucas, carry on.
They came through last year and they filmed the rugby season last year for the first 15, and we were also very lucky enough for them to come to the house and experience of what we go through on a game day morning. But they came and had breakfast with us, and then they had the prayer, everything. We had a prayer, and the guy who was filming he really enjoyed it. He said, I really loved coming to your house this morning, and we were just very glad and very happy to able to share with him. So yeah, it's just trying to share with the boys at school of what we do at home and what the Samoan lifestyle is like. Trying to share it, sort of.
So we're gonna put this on Facebook. We're gonna put the link on. It's called The Season. Uncle Jay and I have watched it, and it is really amazing. You look like a beautiful chocolate drop inside a vanilla ice cream there, because you are one of the very few colored boys there in the school. But I mean, when you watch it, it absolutely makes no difference.
Yeah.
It absolutely makes no difference. But it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. We will put the link on our Facebook today. It's called The Season. Great, great stuff to watch for parents and athletes alike.
Yes. What do you hear? So from Tassie, listen, Lucas, looking back in history, right? There's a lot of our Pacific Islanders have done extremely well in all different sports, but it seems to be mainly the compact sports or the contact sports that we thrive on. What happens if you don't make it? What happens if you don't make it? There's no, like I said earlier in the program, Lucas, there's no guarantee. And it's heartbreaking when you see so many talented kids don't make it. So there's a lot of parents or a lot of athletes have not prepared for.
So you're asking, is there a plan B?
Yes, is there a plan B? Because the reality is only a few, and I'm saying only a few percent of Islanders do make it. And when they do make it, they actually make it really big. But the majority of them don't make it. So what happens after that? So I suppose the question thrown at you is like what Auntie Tussie was saying. What's plan B if it doesn't work out?
I guess that's why schools and education is very important for young people coming in and still in school, and to take education very seriously and not take it for granted, because if you do not become successful, you don't make it in sport, that's what your plan B should be to fall back on. And that's what I'm very lucky that my parents have instilled into me, have your education. That's why you went to the school. Your education is your first and foremost, that's your priority. And I'm very thankful, because now if sport doesn't go my way, then I can fall back on my academics, and I can fall back on my degree. When I finish it and I go follow through with my degree, that's what I can fall back on with my qualifications and certificates. So I think education is really important for the young people. That's what they should still focus and concentrate on.
If you're listening to that answer from this young man, very mature, very, very mature. Look, I think it's fantastic that you're able to speak like that and share those experiences inside, because that's what the next generation needs to hear. And like your father alluded to earlier on, we can say the same things over and over again, but it only takes someone else to come and say exactly the same thing, and then you listen to them. But at least your parents are aware of the importance of you having that balance, having something to fall back onto, because that's the harsh reality, Lucas. And I've seen it both here in Samoa, certainly in New Zealand in my time over in England, where some of our Polynesian players that come over, then they fail. And it's really sad when they fail, because it's no one's giving you a rule book of how to look after yourself when things don't go well. So I think this whole talk that we're having this morning is very good. It just opens up so many opportunities for people to look at the reality, because that's what it is. When you come back to reality, even me, when I finished how many years overseas, come back to reality, come back into society, and having to work all over again. So it's good hearing from you. And look, we enjoy the time that you're giving us. And I do wish you all the very best. And I hope you do make take the opportunity, because it's important for you, it's important for your family, it's important for those who support and right behind you. So, I've got goosebumps knowing that we're looking at a young man that can go a long, long way. And so, but be prepared. Be prepared when it doesn't, I think that's the one thing that I do notice since I've been here in Samoa, is that our young kids here, they give up very easily when the going gets tough. And I think a lot of this can be resolved by just having the right people supporting them and making time to walk through this, because everyone wants instant success. And more so the young generation coming through, they want instant success straight away. They're not willing to persevere, not willing to fail along the way, So that's what you're saying, having this balance behind you, having something to fall back, that's really, really important. So, congratulations, and no doubt you've got wonderful parents behind supporting you, as well as your siblings. and obviously Auntie Tassie and Uncle Jay here.
Your
in the
biggest
studio.
fans.
And just touching on that, on one of the scenes in the series that's up there, you guys played a really important game. I think it was a championship game or something, or leading up to the championship, and you guys well fought game, but you guys lost. And at the end of it, there was a lot of crying from your side. And then it came down and kind of focused on you. And I'm very proud of you, son. I mean, the way that you handled that situation.
Yes.
Of course, you were gutted, you were disappointed. But just the look on your face, I could see that you were already thinking of the rematch, of how to come back from that. And that's very important. And sometimes you don't say it, but you can tell from people when you see them of how they handle those situations. And fair enough, the guys were disappointed, they were gutted, a lot of them were in tears, and so were the parents. But yeah, I have a question for the mum. So I mean, we've spoken about the parents support. Sometimes we're pulling them away or pushing them towards that bit. And sometimes too, you become very supportive. Are you one of those moms that when you're on what does it feel like when you're on the field and you see your son getting hit, tackled by somebody else? Are you one of those moms that actually run onto the field and with an umbrella? Because I've seen the moms run up and actually hit the opposition, for tackling their son. What does it feel like? How does it feel?
Be honest.
Yeah. You know what? In his first game, when he did get rolled, that's exactly what I felt like doing. I felt like running onto the field. But over here, yeah, the rule here is you're not allowed to run on the field at all. Even if your child gets injured, if you run on the field, the game is forfeited. Nothing. Even if you just get a step on the field. So I've had to learn how to just, hold my cool on the side of the field, on the sideline. But it really hits hard when your kids get hurt on the field, and you have to be very strong. And we're lucky here because we have the paramedics and everybody on standby, and you put your trust in them.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh my Lord, Mom!
Wise
You've
words
always
of
been
encouragement.
cooler than me. I'm not invited to games anyway. I'm the other kind.
Not by the sport.
Lucas, we time is running out on this side of our studio, but we want to wish you all the very, very best, young man. I'm looking forward. I think those who are listening and tuning in from all parts of the globe, will obviously take notice of your name, and whether you succeed or whether you don't. I think for me, I'm just witness a well brought up young man, with parents that love you and support you, and we're rooting for you on this side of the Pacific Ocean. So when these borders is lifted, hopefully we get the opportunity to see you play live. I've got nephews as well, who live in Brisbane and playing rugby in Brisbane, and just like you, gone through the academy. So I'd love to see your name pop up in the next year or so. So, and at the end of the day, and that's what success is all about. It's all about being focused on the small details and enjoying it whilst you can, whilst the journey lasts. So congratulations. Any last words of encouragement, Uncle and Auntie Jay and Tassie?
Yeah, just so proud of you and love you to bits. And I can't wait to hear your rap. Will you be able to do a rap before we leave?
No, I'm not rapping.
Not today. Maybe on our next interview. I think we would love to follow you and your career and maybe make this a bi-monthly thing of getting a report or something of where you're going. It would be so awesome just to continue this conversation, because 1 hour is just not enough. It's not enough to to get this message across to everybody. But love you so much, Sunshine, and we're so proud of all of you.
Thank you. Love you guys.
Yeah, I love Uncle and all the best.
Thank you very much. We send you all our love.
From Samoa.
Oh, hello, the Rocks brother.
Yamanuia lava. Taitele lava ba Yamanuia. Alofa tele atu. We love you.
Thank you, Samasina Seuli and Robert Ripley, as well as the young man Lukas Ripley, the up-and-coming superstar in Queensland Academy. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're tuning in, we've had a wonderful time listening to this young man and his insight, as well as the wonderful support of his parents. And I think it's a wonderful example of when everyone works together, no matter how talented you are. You can achieve greater heights when you have a team behind you. When you have a team of support, whether your parents or your siblings, or your coaches, or your aunties, your extended family. It just goes to show that if you're willing to put in the hard work and stay focused, then, as they say, the world is your oyster. Just one more thing, Lukas. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot. Samoa or the Wallabies?
Samoa all the way.
Samoa all the way.
Yeah, you're 100%.
So you never know. You never know. We might see you in the blue jersey one day. So we come to the end of our program, and I hope you've enjoyed tuning in and listening to some of these beautiful, wise advice from Auntie and Uncle Jay and Tussie. Certainly from the parents, from Seuli and Robert, and then the man himself. This show is all about trying to promote our youngsters coming through. And, I suppose as parents, all you want is your children to do well and, and serve the community, represent their families well. So I'm very ecstatic. I'm very happy, and I'm glad that as parents, I'm not the only one in that boat where we just want our kids to do well. So from all of us here at iSpy Radio 87.5 FM Samoa and Inga the Wingers Sporting Hour, thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you same time, same place on Monday next week. Take care. God bless. Have a fantastic weekend.
Miss you guys so much. Love you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Awesome, Lukas. Looking forward to it, my man. Robert, we'll see you when I see you in Brisbane, buddy.
Or in Ponsonby.
Ponsonby.
Yeah, coming through. And then
For the you actually played for one of the Samoa teams for Toa Samoa.
Yes, yeah, and then under 14s.
Under 14.
Wow.
Yes.
Toa Samoa.
Yeah, it's already put on the blue jersey.
Awesome stuff. So back to Lukas, Seuli, and
Thank you.
Take care, guys. Thank you for coming on the show.
Shout out to Piazza.